Greetings and welcome to the last episode of our Ethiopian run here on Victoria 3. I know that I was also saying this in the previous episode, but in the end we didn't manage to cover the last 10 years all in one shot. So we are going to complete the mission today. It's the 4th of December 1929. I don't know if you will also have the time for some kind of recap or let's say some retrospective of how this Iron Man run progressed during all these episodes, but let's see. So the current situation is extremely positive, I would say. We have a rank of 15. We are now an unrecognized major power. We will need to have the diplomatic play to try to be recognized, but not necessarily we will have the chance of doing that in this very last years of the run. And also, I mean, we will also need to win the diplomatic play, and that could be even more challenging. But apart from that, we have good economy. We had some economic crisis at some point in the course of last episode because our economy is I will say strictly dependent on the performance of Egypt, and there was a revolution there that of course affected also our trade routes. But now that the revolution is resolved in Egypt, we have the GDP recovering again, and so right now we are the 12th economy in the world. I will say that things are going fine. We have some deficit in our budget, but it's still okay because we have the gold reserve, and also I'm keeping the taxes very low and the salaries very high. So at least for the government and for the military. So it's something that I could easily correct in case if there will be the need, but for the moment I'm going to leave it as it is. We have a lot of diplomacy now that we can use, and then maybe we can improve the relationship with Kalmar Union, Netherlands, Confederate States of America, and Great Britain. The standard of living are decreasing again. But for the moment it's still under control, and the GDP is growing. As soon as the ports will be completed, then we can focus again on chemical plants, textile mills, rubber plantation to improve our economy, to boost it further. And we are about to have a revolution, I didn't notice. Because there is a very high radicalism over our electoral law. They want to have universal suffrage. I can try to pass it, it's fine. Then this should placate the revolution. I don't want to have a revolution just in the final episode of this run. As soon as I will complete all this list of buildings, included the barracks, okay, maybe the shipyards, we can move them at the bottom. But then once I will be done with the barracks, we can take a look at our military industry, see what it is needed, and maybe really try to place the last diplomatic play of the game. Votes for women. Women in Ethiopia have begun organizing to campaigning for their right to vote in general elections. Tsehai Mikael of the Intelligentsia has emerged as a leading figure of this movement. Newly formed party, Free Trade Party. Let's take a look at this. This is basically the industrialist, okay. They're very unhappy with what I'm doing, unfortunately. Suffragist killed. An activist seeking to bring attention to the cause of women's suffrage has died in an incident at a derby, killed by a racehorse belonging to Negasi Solomon, the ruler and politician of the empire. The rural folk are sitting at the opposition, and as I've said, this topic of women's suffrage at the end of the run is not really the biggest priority, I would say. So I will say that we won't extend political sympathy to such reckless behavior. This will increase the relationship with the landowner. They are right now quite happy. They have a +4. And we start having again a little bit of tax waste. Can we find something that will increase again our bureaucracy? Some low-hanging fruit? It will be psychoanalysis, but this will take 35 months. Let's finish what I'm researching now. Volcanization, and then we can move there maybe. Yes. So now we go here, psychoanalysis. Expand the rubber industry completed. We completed an entry from the journal. Rubber boom. The recent expansion of the rubber plantation in Tanganyika has yielded extremely promising results. Ethiopia threatens to lead the world in rubber production. We need more rubber. Very good. The high prices on furniture have become a prominent talking point in the Free Trade Party election campaign. So when there are 15 days from the election, I think it might be good to boost the Free Trade Party. I would love to boost them, but they are unhappy with me. So I think it's probably better to focus on the Social Democratic Party, as they are giving us a +10 of loyalty. Solidarity and industrial organizers. Our current politics are needed to keep the economy stable. +10% momentum will be added to Social Democratic Party. Let's see if we can influence somehow the elections that are going to happen in 2 weeks, and then we will reform the government. Election time. The Liberal Party won with 8 million votes, 44% of the preferences. So let's take a look at the government. As we have low legitimacy at the moment, we have to reform the government, and let's see who we can keep and remove. Petit bourgeoisie wants to join Conservative Party. %69%, and then Petit bourgeoisie will join Armed Forces and Oriental Orthodox Church, and then we will have the Liberal Party with the Intelligentsia. Let's confirm it like this. Okay, we have legitimacy again. Unfortunately, the enacting universal suffrage went down to 30%. I will keep trying enacting it because I don't want the revolution to start again, but yeah. O City of Plenty, we have seen many times. The party will never end is my standard answer here. And let's keep an eye on France, because I want to see if they go on a war. I might try to take the chance for the diplomatic play for forcing recognition, but we need them to be at war. We need them to be busy on more fronts to increase our chance of success. Grassroots support for low. The political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for universal suffrage has spread like wildfire across Ethiopia, spurred on by charismatic speakers who can boost the intelligentsia, or lower strata in Amhara become more loyalist. This is definitely my option at this point, because lower strata represent the largest part of the population. Amhara is one of the most populated states that we have, with 3 million population, and if they become more loyalist, that's even better. At this point, boosting the intelligentsia is not as relevant as it used to be in the past, when I needed to pass certain other laws. Unfortunately, time is passing, so I don't know if I will have the time for a final diplomatic play. Thought and action. The armed forces are dissatisfied with the inclusion of intelligentsia in the Ethiopian government. No, definitely I don't want to sacrifice authority. That's no way going to happen. Armed forces +11. Intelligentsia +19. Respect the soldiers who protect your right to pontificate. I might need the armed forces in the near future, so I want to have them on my side. Backroom dealing exposed. Prominent members of the intelligentsia, outspoken supporters of universal suffrage and close allies to Tsehei Mikhail, the feminist politician, have been exposed in a corruption scandal, having exchanged political favors for personal gifts. Not so good, my dears. This will sabotage the enactment success chance. Definitely I do not want to damage bureaucracy, so I will have to take this minus 50 of popularity for the feminist leader, and minus 15% of enactment success chance. But to be honest, I mean, the reason why I'm really trying to pass this law is mainly to make the radicals calm down. Dangerous equipment. The tooling workshop in Somaliland have seen an increase in workplace injuries due to the increased mechanization and poor safety regulations. No, I don't want to damage the trade unions right now, to be honest. I will affect the manufacturing industry throughput, unfortunately. And we reached already the January 1934. The game is almost over, guys. And we are still missing that final chance for the recognition. Suffragist march. Activists led by the feminist leader, basically, have gathered to protest the lack of voting rights for women in Ethiopia. The protest must be heard. Let's do like this. Let's support this movement. And we are losing position in the rank, unfortunately, even though our prestige improved over time. You know what, guys? We don't have a lot of time left. Let's try. Let's try our luck. Let's try our luck. Force recognition, France. Let's try anyway. They are confident. So are we. Mobilize all generals. Yes. Let's try our luck. Urbanized Ethiopia completed. This is very good. Winds of change. Gondar has come a long way since our attention was first brought to it, going from small houses and scattered farmlands to being on its way to become a booming metropolis. This is not the hand. Let's increase the throughput just for this final phase of the run. The Emperor's speech. Emperor Negazi Solomon delivered a roaring speech in an attempt to forestall the progress of Ethiopia becoming a presidential republic. This could complicate things, and then the trade unions will have a -2 of interest group approval. Challenge the speech. It's a pity that we cannot bring anyone on our side because it's kind of balanced right now. Back down, France. Back down. Let us be. Recognize Ethiopia, France. And instead he goes to war. Fine. I think we should try to penetrate with all for the moment because they are not really present. This is among the wounded. The deaths from disease among the wounded soldier has skyrocketed. Why? There is no opposition. This is troubling. Recovery rate plus for 5% of mortality. Okay, recovery rate. And we are easily penetrating the French territory because there is no opposition from their side. They're sending no one to the front. Just having expensive cost of war. Why having a war if you don't even join it? There are things in war that I really don't understand in this game, to be honest, but let's see. Photographs of Ethiopia. It has been suggested that we take and distribute some pictures of our country's most famous landmarks. Yes, let's increase the prestige, the final boost. If I knew that it would have been like that, I would have also included as a war goal, for example, to include Kenya, just to make the borders less horrible, but yeah, I didn't expect this kind of war, to be honest. -24. Okay, they propose a peace deal. Let's see. Proposed by France, recognize Ethiopia. We do accept this peace deal. The war is over, guys. And we managed. We managed before the end of the run. Ethiopia, my friends, is now a major power. Ranked 10 in the world. Of course, maybe if I would have done things better in the past, we would have managed to achieve a better position. And also, I mean, I should have progressed across the different ranks earlier on in the run, instead of trying to get the recognition only in the final episode of the run, but still we managed. Major power, rank 10, we started from 120, not bad at all. 10th economy in the world, 29 for GDP per capita, 30. Which means that, of course, there is not a lot of distribution of wealth within the country, but I will still say that it's fine. July 1935, my dears, we are almost there, the last half year, and it's done. The last election of this run, Liberal Party won again, 12 millions, 53% of the votes. Let's reform the government, shall we? Okay. Yeah. Let's close the run with the Liberal Party and Social Democratic Party both at the government. But I cannot, because the industrialists want to join the Liberal Party. So in order to do that, I have to include also the industrialists. I'm fine with that. Confirm. Okay, let's suppose, let's help our allies in this final war. So this is basically Oman, our allies. It's not our own war, but we can help. Let's do it. And we are smashing them. Offense 77 against defense 25. And we have a revolution again that is brewing. Why this time? To preserve the monarchy. This is basically landowners, church, and petit bourgeoisie. Let's see if we can pass the presidential republic in time. Dangerous equipment, slow down production. Maybe we will manage to pass the law in time. It already happened in the past for abolishing the slavery. I think we will not figure out because the game is about to end anyway with the revolution brewing. Interesting. I will slow down the time of the game because we are almost there, guys. Yes. Achievement unlocked. This is the first time that I complete the entire run, and this is also my first Ironman run. We are there. Game over. I mean, not that we have lost, but it's fine. Unfortunately, we have lost some position in the rank at the very end of this episode. We completed the run with a position of 12 in the world. The GDP was having a little contraction also because of the war, but it was okay. Standard of living was fair. Prestige was declining but fair as well. Population has always been growing. So generally speaking, I think it was a successful run. Of course, there were a number of things I would have done differently, but generally speaking, I think it was good considering it was the first complete run I played, and also that it was played with Ironman, so without having the possibility to go back and change my decision. Just a quick summary, I mean, we started from a very small country that was Sheva, ranked 120 and with only 600,000 of GDP and a population that was even less than 1.5 million. We were below 20% for literacy, we were having 19.3 and the standard of living were 9.1, and then we managed basically to form Ethiopia, expand the territory significantly, and become a recognized power. At the end, unfortunately, ranked only 12 because we have lost a few positions at the very end of this episode, but we managed. We had a huge population that has always been growing. We were more than 15 millions, which was of course great from a starting point of 1.4 million. Literacy definitely higher than what it was. Same goes for the standard of living from 9.1 to 13.8, so absolutely, I think I cannot really complain. Of course, we could have done something better, I believe, but Yeah, as a first experiment, I think it was absolutely fine. Just to make a quick comment of what I would have possibly done differently, to try moving immediately in the direction of the colonies rather than expanding in the other states of the strategic region. Because in the end, something that penalized me in the rush for coal, it was this, let's say, abusive presence of France. But on the other hand, if I would have moved already in the direction of the colonies by conquering Keffa immediately, then I would have had the possibility to start my colony earlier on, even with France expanding in the same area. And the reality is, if you have watched the previous episode, you know it, that basically by the time that I passed the law for having colonialism, I was still not ready to start a colony because I was not bordering with a colony. So I think that the very first expansion should have been, apart from Somaliland for the need of iron, but it should have been in the direction of the colonies to then be able to immediately start creating one as soon as the law was passed. Also, I should have concentrated in Somaliland at the beginning of the game all the iron production and nothing else. And instead, for example, I was also building other kind of buildings, yes, in the same state, which was of course affecting the infrastructure generally speaking. Also, I should have never made that expansion of the navy and the shipyards. That was something that temporarily killed our economy, and it was something that I had anyway to undo later on, to revert. So I wasted some time and some resources there that should have been used instead to improve our economy further, I would say. Also, for the war that we had, I mean, leaving aside that war is kind of broken right now in the game. I'm still recording in the first half of November, even if you're seeing this later on. But leaving that aside, I also made important mistake in wars. For example, not picking the right general, like not placing for the offensive maneuvers offensive generals, and in the end, generals really decide most of the wars, basically. So yeah, I mean, I really made a lot of mistake without mentioning even the problems with the recognition. I was not fully understanding how to move from unrecognized regional power to unrecognized major power, and then how to challenge properly the major powers like France in order to be fully recognized, which luckily in the end I still managed to do before the end of this run in this episode. So yeah, generally speaking, I'm still happy because considering that many things were the first time that I was doing them, I still think that the final result was sort of good. Everyone, of course, who makes tutorial and everything, they play with France, they play with Great Britain, they play with Prussia. That's a completely different story when you learn the game by playing a small country like Sheva. I hope you have enjoyed as well. I can definitely invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, if you are on Twitch, don't forget to follow me there as well, because I do play also strategy games on live stream. And so you might want to follow me also on Twitch. The link is in the description, but for today, guys, that's all. So have a nice day. Cheers.